जनरञ्जन यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरावनचारी यमुनतीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुञ्ज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुञ्ज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुञ्ज विहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधव राधे जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव कलियुग युग धर्म हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। వెంకటం
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಆಡ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ
नारायण स्वामी आल्रेडी
भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 5th chapter, verse number 2. Today, we are celebrating the Smriti Vyasa Puja of Srila Prabhupada's appearance day. Today is the appearance day of Srila Prabhupada. So actually it was yesterday, we were not able to perform the celebrations yesterday because of pressing commitments and services. So let us celebrate and remember Srila Prabhupada today. महत् सेवद्वारम् अहोर विमुक्तेस् तमोद्वारं योषितं संगी संगम महन्तस्ते समचित्त प्रशांत विमाया वा सुहृदो साधवो ये। महत् सेवद्वारम् अहोर विमुक्तेस् तमोद्वारं योषितं संगी संगम महन्तस्ते समचित्त प्रशांत विमान्या वा सुहृदो साधवो ये। महत् सेवद्वारम् अहोर्विमुक्तेस् तमोद्वारं योषितं संगी संगम महन्तस्ते समचित्त प्रशांत विमान्या वा सुहृदो साधवो ये। महत् सेवद्वारम् अहोर्विमुक्तेस् तमोद्वारं योषितं संगी संगम महन्तस्ते समचित्त प्रशांत विमान्या वा सुहृदो साधवो ये। महत् सेवद्वारम् अहोर्विमुक्ते तमोद्वारं योषितं संगी संगम महन्तस्ते समचित्त प्रशांत विमान्या वा सुहृदो साधवो ये। महत् सेवद्वारम् अहोर्विमुक्तेस् तमोद्वारं योषितं संगी संगम महन्तस्ते समचित्त प्रशांत विमान्या वा सुहृदो साधवो ये। महत् सेवद्वारम् अहोर्विमुक्तेस् तमोद्वारं योषितं संगी संगम महन्तस्ते समचित्त प्रशांत विमान्या वा सुहृदो साधवो ये महत्सेवद्वारं महोर्विमुक्ते तमोद्वारं योषितं संगी संगम स्ते समचित्त प्रशांत विमान्या वा सुहृद साधवो ये महत्सेवम. Mataji, you want to try? Mahatsevadvaram mahor vimuktes tamodvaram yositam sangi sangam mahantaste samachitta prashanta vimanya va suhrudo sadhavo ye. Mahatsevam, service to the spiritually advanced persons called Mahatmas. Dwaram, the way. Ahu, they say. Vimukte, of liberation. Tamadvaram, the way of the dungeon of a dark, hellish condition of life. Yositam, of women. Sangi, of associates. Sangam, association. Mahanta, highly advanced in spiritual understanding. They, Samachitta, persons who can see everyone in a spiritual identity. Prashanta, very peaceful, situated in Brahman or Bhagavan. Vimanyava, without anger. One must distribute Krishna consciousness to persons who are hostile without becoming angry at them. Suhradaha, well-wishers of everyone. Sadhavaha, qualified devotees, without abominable behavior. Ye, they, who. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravida Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. One can attain the path of liberation from material bondage only by rendering service to highly advanced spiritual personalities. These personalities are impersonalists and devotees. Whether one wants to merge into the Lord's existence or want to associate with the personality of Godhead, one should render service to the Mahatmas. For those who are not interested in such activities, who associate with persons fond of women and sex, the path of hell is wide open. The Mahatmas are equipoised. They do not see any difference between one living entity and another. They are very peaceful and are fully engaged in devotional service. They are devoid of anger and they work for the benefit of everyone. They do not behave in any abominable way. Such persons, such people are known as Mahatmas. The human body is like a junction. One may either take the path of liberation or path leading to a hellish condition. How one can take these paths is described herein. On the path of liberation, one associates with Mahatmas, and on the path of bondage, one associates with those attached to sense gratification and women. There are two types of Mahatmas, the impersonalists and the devotees. Although their ultimate goal is different, the process of emancipation is almost the same. Both want eternal happiness. One seeks happiness in impersonal Brahman and other seeks happiness in the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As described in the first verse, Brahma Saukyam. Brahman means spiritual or eternal. Both the impersonalists and the devotees seek eternal blissful life. In any case, it is advised that one becomes perfect in the words of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Asat Sangha Tyaga Ye Vaishnava Achara. Stri Sangi Eka Asadu. Krishna Bhaktara. To remain unattached to the modes of material nature, one should avoid associating with those who are asat, materialistic. There are two kinds of materialists. One is attached to woman and sense gratification, the other is simply a non-devotee. On the positive side, in association with Mahatmas and on the negative side is the avoidance of the non-devotees and women hunters. Mukham karoti vachalam pangulangaite girim yatripatamaham munde Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramanandamadav Shri Chaitanya Ishwar. One can attain the path of liberation from material bondage only by rendering service to highly advanced spiritual personalities. These personalities are impersonalist devotees. Whether one wants to merge into the Lord's existence or want to associate with the personality of Godhead, one should render service to the Mahatma. For those who are not interested in such activities, who associate with people fond of women and sex, the path of hell is wide open. The Mahatmas are equipoised. They do not see any difference between one living entity and another. They are very peaceful and are fully engaged in devotional service. They are devoid of anger and they work for the benefit of everyone. They do not behave in any abominable way. Such people are known as Mahatmas. Hare Krishna, devotees are able to hear me? Hare Krishna, please come forward. Serving the Mahatmas, serving the great souls, serving the pure devotees of the Lord is a path wide open for liberation. So, and serving one's own mind and senses, serving people who are attached to women, attached to sensual pleasures. So the path of hell is wide open. People who are fond of women, who are fond of people attached to women, so the path of hell is wide open for them. So therefore, what is the hope for a jiva which is wandering in this world since time immemorial? So the jiva in this material world is wandering in this material world since time immemorial. So what is the hope? So because living in this material world, getting out of the clutches of these three modes of material nature and going back to Krishna is not an easy path. So what is the hope for the people in this world? So who is going to liberate them? Who is going to take them back to Krishna? Hare Krishna. The Gurus. So it is only the association of a pure devotee of the Lord is the only hope. So therefore the pure devotees of the Lord are very dear to the Lord, because their association, they are doing the mission of the Lord. They are working for the pleasure of the Lord. So they are doing the cause of the Lord. What is the cause of the Lord? Is to take back everybody back home, back to Krishna. So they are thinking about us. So when Kali Yuga started, the sages of Naimisharanya, so they were worried. So because the symptoms of the age of Kali was very, very threatening, very, very bewildering. So there was no hope for people to get liberated from the clutches of the material energy. So they all decided that we will perform austerities and tapasya in the forest of Naimisharanya. So that what will happen? So that the effect of Kali Yuga will get reduced. So they thought of performing sacrifices for a period of 1000 years. So they all started performing the sacrifice. When they started performing the sacrifice, what emanated from the fire? Sacrificial fire? Only smoke. And it is mentioned that their faces were blackened by the smoke emanating from the sacrificial fire. So which means the process of yajna, so performing sacrifices, yagnic sacrifices will not work in the age of Kali Yuga. So therefore we have to see that a particular process which is recommended for the age of Kali Yuga, so needs to be established. So that is the whole purpose of establishing the holy name. So in the age of Kali, and that great work is done by none other than His Divine Grace Abhay Chanaranda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So Jai Srila Prabhupada. So no process is going to work in the age of Kali except for the chanting of the holy names. Harer Nama, Eva Kevalam Kalo Nasteva, Gatalamyata. So to establish the holy name, so and to accept this path, so we have to take the shelter of the great souls. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada was giving a class in Ultadanga, so West Bengal, Calcutta. So this is in 1922. So when one of his friends, Narendranath Malik, who was Narendranath Malik? He was Prabhupada's friend. He was interested in attending these classes. So he used to go attend these classes regularly. So and he became interested and he wanted his close friend. So when we become interested in something, we want to tell to our close friends and we also want to take them along with us. Especially when somebody is not married. So those days, you are more close to your friends than your family members, right? So you want to share with your friend, and Narendranath Malik also wanted to do the same thing. He wanted Prabhupada to come, but Prabhupada was not interested going to meet the sadhus, because during his childhood, so he had seen many such sadhus coming to his house. So, and most of them had some bad habits. So they would smoke. So after, so Prabhupada's mother and Gaur Mohan they would invite them and they would make all the sadhus bless Srila Prabhupada. So please bless him so that he will become the servant of Srimati Radharani. So this was the blessings which Srila Gaur Mohan they expected from all the sadhus. And he had seen many such sadhus, and many of them would so have bad habits, and he had lost faith in them. So he had no hope. So but Narendranath was insisting, no, we should go meet this sadhu. So it's not like I don't think he's like the sadhus you had the experience in the past. He's a different sadhu altogether. So you have to meet him. So he was insisting, and Prabhupada was trying to avoid. So every day he would give some reason or the other. And finally, his friend told him, if you don't come today, then I'll not talk to you. So finally Prabhupada agreed. So both of them went, and it was the first meeting of Srila Prabhupada with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. It was the most auspicious day for all of us. So he met Srila Prabhupada met Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. And as soon as he met him, so Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada told him, so youngsters like you should take to the path of Krishna consciousness and preach to the people in the English speaking world. And whenever you get money, you should print books. These are the two instructions which Prabhupada immediately told Srila Prabhupada. So then he gave a class. So and after the class, so Srila Prabhupada asked Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada a question. He asked him, so India is not free. This is in 1922. So Srila Prabhupada has met. It's in 1922. He is asking a question. India is not free. So we are under the we are under the shelter of the British government. So for us to free this country is more important than preach this message. We ourselves are subordinate to British. How will people of the world listen to us? So first we have to liberate the country. So then we have to preach this message. So then what did Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur tell Prabhupada? What was the answer given by Prabhupada? Anybody remembers?
So either you will be, if not the British, you will be under some other Indian. So you will be servant under some or other person.
Yeah.
Maybe Indian or Indian British or maybe some other person.
So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada told Srila Prabhupada, so politicians may change, but politics will remain. So therefore, no matter whichever government takes over, so that is what is going to happen. So and that statement has come true. We have seen that earlier we were exploited by the British, and now we are exploited by our own men. So whether so therefore the most important thing for you, the urgency is for Krishna consciousness. What is the urgency? The urgency or the emergency situation is not to liberate this country from the hold of the British. The emergency situation is to liberate yourselves from the clutches of the three modes of material nature and go back to Krishna. So the urgency is Krishna consciousness. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada was very much convinced in the first meeting itself. So he thought that the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the safe hands. So he was very much convinced about the purpose and goal of life. The day he met Srila Prabhupada, he took the instructions of Srila Prabhupada to his heart. So how did this happen? Mahat Seva Dvaram Aur Vimuktis. So Mahat Seva Dvaram, the doors of liberation becomes wide open when you meet a pure devotee of the Lord. So this is what happened to Srila Prabhupada, and because of that meeting, what happened? So we are all sitting here and listening Srimad Bhagavatam. So the doors of liberation will be wide open when you meet a Mahatma. So what do you think about this meeting of 1922? This first meeting of Srila Prabhupada meeting, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. So it has opened the doors of liberation for all of us. So millions and millions of souls are getting liberated. One meeting with a sadhu. Mahat Seva Dvara Mahor Vimukte. So not only one soul, so many of us are getting liberated because of this one meeting. So this is what happens. There are many pastimes in the history of the world. So in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara and many Vaishnava Paramparas, that just by one meeting with a sadhu, what will happen? So we have the story of Venudari. We have the story of Valmiki Ratnakar. So Ratnakar was a hunter. So he was killing the animals. So and Narada Muni became very compassionate towards him. So he was like more or less like a dacoit in that area. So people were very afraid of him. So even to go near that place, people were very afraid. So, but when he saw Narada Muni carefree, he was carefree and walking in the forest. So Ratnakar became very disturbed. How come this person is not afraid of me? So I want to threaten him. He ran towards Narada Muni with a sword to kill him. But Narada Muni was least disturbed. So he tried to kill him, but he is a spiritual personality. Nothing happened to him. So then he told Ratnakar, so go and ask your wife and children whether they are going to take your karma. So you are killing animals, you are already having a long list of bad karma. So go and check with your wife and children whether they are going to share the karma with you. So then they went. Then he went to his wife, his children. Then he went to his old parents. He asked everybody, see, I am doing this activity for all your sake to take care of you. So will you all share your karma with me? So and each one started telling that as a father, as a husband, as a son, you have a great duty. You have a duty to take care of us. So you are doing your duty. So why should we take care of your karma? So then he realized. So just by the association of Narada Muni, what happened? His life transformed. So he took to the path of spiritual life. So that is what happens when you meet a sadhu. Mahat Seva Dvara Mahor Vimukta. So then how are we going to give this Krishna consciousness to the people of this world? So we are not Mahatmas like Srila Prabhupada. We are not Mahatmas like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. We are not Mahatmas like Narada Muni. So how are we going to do this job? So how are we going to save the world? So how are we going to serve this movement? What we should do? So how are we going to do this service in our position? It's our position. How are we going to serve? Is the question. So we can chant, we can read, we can distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. So that is what we have to understand. So we have a center here. We have a center here. This is nothing but the body of Srila Prabhupada. One thing we have to understand that this center is a body of Srila Prabhupada, and all of us are duty bound to serve this great soul. So don't think that the center is made of these walls, then we have an altar here, then we have a Sunday program here. That is not the understanding. The understanding is that how are we going to serve the Mahatma is we have to understand that this is the body of Srila Prabhupada. So ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada clearly told, ISKCON is my body. So if we have serving ISKCON means we are serving the body of Srila Prabhupada. So there are two ways to serve a Mahatma. One is to serve the physical body of Srila Prabhupada. So and one is to serve his instructions. This is called as the Vani Seva and Vapu Seva. So there are two ways we can serve a Mahatma. So one is serving his physical body and one is serving his instructions. So he is present in his instructions. So therefore, first thing we have to, now Srila Prabhupada is not present on this planet. But we have his disciples who are on this planet and who are serving him. So we can serve Srila Prabhupada through them. And second way to serve the body of Srila Prabhupada is to serve this movement. So suppose we are all connected to one center, we have to serve the connected center, and actually we are serving the body of Srila Prabhupada. Whether we are taking some small service here, so whether we are doing preaching, whether we are doing deity worship, whether we are doing cooking, whether we are doing preaching, whether we are doing sankirtan, whether we are doing vessel washing, some small service, so some chapel stand seva, some cleaning the floor, everything, every small activity is actually a service to Srila Prabhupada. So that is how the doors of our liberation will open. So what happens when we come to the association of devotees? So we start serving the great devotee Srila Prabhupada. So through this medium, through the association of the devotees. So therefore the devotee should have the right understanding. So what this movement means, what does the center mean for us? It is actually we are serving the body of Srila Prabhupada. So, and we are serving the instructions of Srila Prabhupada. So, serving the instructions, out of these two, which one is better? Vani Seva or Vapu Seva? Which one is better? Is the question. Vani Seva. Say the spiritual master may not be present with you all the time, but he has left the instructions with you. So what did Srila Prabhupada do? Srila Prabhupada met, how many times did Srila Prabhupada meet Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada? 3 times in life. 3 times in life. So 3 times he met Srila Prabhupada in his life. So first, in the first meeting, and second meeting, what did he do? He met him in Vrindavan. He went with Srila Prabhupada. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada had taken few of his disciples to Vrindavan. So there, along with, to serve these 2 instructions of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, he prepared himself for the entire life. 40 years he prepared. To serve these 2 instructions, he was preparing all through. He made all efforts. In Jhansi, he made this effort. First, he started the movement in India only. He did not start in New York. But his mission completely failed in India, because India people have a different kind of upbringing and a different kind of an attitude. So therefore, the first movement he started in Jhansi, in Madhya Pradesh. There he started the first movement called the League of Devotees in Jhansi. So, but he had only one disciple, one Indian disciple. So, and he was the first initiated disciple. He was very sincere. But after that, he could not make any disciples in India. So he thought that so I'll not be able to fulfill the instructions of my spiritual master. So then he went to, where did he go? Then he went to Vrindavan. So there in Vrindavan he was writing books. He was writing Srimad Bhagavatam. He had completed almost 3 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. So many of them were his manuscripts. So many of them were in handwritten form. So this handwritten form he had to personally type it. He had to personally proofread it. Then he had to personally take this for printing. So those days, don't think that it was like you sit before a laptop and set up everything. There is Photoshop. Then there are many printing tools now. There are many printing softwares which are very, very sophisticated. You can bring any format so within your reach and print books. The system was not that. So everything has to be stenciled. Stenciled in the sense all the letters have to be arranged. So sometimes you see these old magazines of Srila Prabhupada published in 1944 in Back to Godhead. Some of them you can find it is typed. So some letters may be up, some letters may be down when you read the sentences also. So you can see the technology, printing technology those days. So he used to personally go sit in the press. So he used to personally proofread, personally prepare the manuscript. So, and few of his printing friends were very, very favorable to him. Swamiji, why at this age you are taking so much risk? You are doing everything individually, like a one-man army. So you are preparing the manuscripts, you are typing it, you are arranging everything, you are making the manuscripts. And after preparing everything, he used to get it printed also. These newsletters, he used to get it printed also. And after getting it printed, who was there to distribute? Who would distribute these manuscripts, these newsletters? Prabhupada would personally go and distribute. So please buy this magazine. So he used to charge. He used to charge for those magazines. He used to personally go and distribute. And one day while going like this, he also had to experience a sunstroke. So once he was actually I think a bull also hit Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada actually fell down and he was hurt. So many such instances Srila Prabhupada had to face. So at a very ripe age of his life. So but all through he made all these preparations. So and finally he decided that he would go to America. So to going to America, he did not have money. He did not have resources. He did not have manpower. He did not have influential people with him. So he made his own way out. He went to the office of Sumarti Morarji, and there he used to meet Sumarti Morarji. She was the owner of which company? What was that company? Shipping company? Huh? Name of the shipping company. Jaladuta was the ship. But they had a shipping company also. So he went and met her in the office. So she told that I want to go to America and preach. So, but can you please allow me to travel on your cargo ship? So Sumati Morarji, she was telling, Swamiji, if you travel on this cargo ship, you will die. So I cannot allow you to travel on this cargo ship. So I'm very much afraid that you may die. You cannot survive this travel. It is not easy to travel on the ship. So she refused almost 3 times, 4 times. But Srila Prabhupada would sit in front of her office. Almost one day he completely, almost for 5 hours he was sitting in front of her office. And finally Sumati Maraji, when she came out, she saw that he was waiting for 5 hours. Her heart melted. So she said, Swamiji, now I agree. So whatever, but it is at your risk. I am not of the opinion of sending you to America on this cargo ship. But because you are so much determined, so somehow I have agreed you can travel on the ship to America. So Srila Prabhupada traveled on the ship to America, and it was almost like so especially the journey was from Bay of Bengal towards Cochin, and finally it travels over the Gulf and crosses over the Mediterranean Sea and enters Atlantic Ocean. So traveling in the Atlantic Ocean is the most toughest part of the travel, because the ocean is rugged all the time. Hare Krishna. So the ocean is rugged almost all the time. So very difficult travel. So to cross the Atlantic. Hare Krishna. So to cross the Atlantic is not very, very easy. So and Srila Prabhupada, in the midst of all this travel, he had seasickness. So traveling in ship is not easy. So many of the sailors, you ask the sailors, they will tell you, many of them develop seasickness. So whatever you eat, you feel like vomiting. So and Srila Prabhupada had a very hard time. He had this seasickness, he had this vomiting sensation. And also on top of this, he suffered 2 heart attacks. And anybody at his age, if he had suffered these heart attacks, they would have almost died. So, but Srila Prabhupada had suffered 2 heart attacks, and he was praying to the Lord. So, my Lord, so I have come to serve your mission. So if at all you feel that I am qualified, so please allow me. So please allow me to establish this mission, and for your pleasure. So, and the same day Srila Prabhupada had a dream. What did he dream? What did he see in the dream? So Krishna is in the boat and he is driving the boat. So Krishna had become the captain of the ship, and he is taking Srila Prabhupada across the ocean. So Srila Prabhupada became confident that the Lord has approved his mission, so of traveling to this thing. First thing is that he prayed to the lotus feet of the Lord. He prayed to the lotus feet of the spiritual master. So then finally he thought he prayed for his mission. So and finally he arrived at the Boston Harbor. So and through one of the known contacts, he was there in the Mr. Agarwal's house for almost a month's time. But he did not come to have a happy time there. He was always thinking of the mission as to how I can spread this mission. So after a month's time, he was about to leave the house also. Leave the house of Mr. Agarwal. But they were very much worried. Swamiji, you don't know any of the members here. This is a new place, completely new country, new people. How are you going to establish this mission? How are you going to survive here in New York? So how are you going to carry this mission forward? So that was a big question before Mr. Agarwal's family. But Srila Prabhupada was determined. By that time he had started preaching. So he was going to Tompkins Square Park, and there individually he used to sit and do kirtan for hours together. So then gradually the people started becoming attracted to Srila Prabhupada. So and the doors of liberation for all the people of America opened. Mahat Seva Dwaram Ahor Vimukte Tamodvaram Yositi Sangi Sangam. So Mahat Seva Dwaram. What happened to the people of people of New York in the Tompkins Square Park, how they got attracted to Srila Prabhupada? How did they get attracted to Srila Prabhupada? Because of his purity. Because of his purity. He was a pure devotee of the Lord. So by his purity, he attracted everybody. So a pure devotee of the Lord, if he can show mercy, so he can liberate the entire world, he can liberate the entire universe. So similarly, there was a devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his name was Vasudeva Datta. So Vasudeva Datta also had a same compassion for all the fallen conditioned souls of the age of Kali. So he spoke to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is feeling very compassionate towards all these people of the age of Kali Yuga. They have completely, their suffering here, completely forgotten you. So I want you to shower your mercy on them. I am willing to suffer in hell for eternity, but please liberate all of them. So nobody can play around with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We cannot exhibit duplicity before Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu knew the heart of Vasudeva Datta. He said, for your sake I will liberate the entire universe. So he liberated the entire universe for their sake. So therefore, if a pure devotee wants to liberate, he can liberate the entire universe. So Srila Prabhupada had that mood. She had that vision and the purpose. So therefore, what Srila Prabhupada is saying, unless the devotees of this movement have the sufficient desire to liberate all the conditioned souls, we cannot spread this mission. So we have to carry the mission and the mood of the Acharya. So if we have to liberate the people of this world. So because the devotees are not sufficiently desiring like Vasudeva Datta. So in that commentary, where Vasudeva Datta is feeling compassionate for all the conditioned soul, Srila Prabhupada is writing, unless the devotees of the Krishna conscious movement sufficiently desire like Vasudeva Datta, this world cannot be liberated. So Lord will not give compassion to the fallen souls unless we have that compassionate mood like Vasudeva Datta. So similarly, the devotees of the Krishna consciousness movement also should take this endeavor to preach this mission, to take this mission forward and liberate the fallen conditioned souls of the age of Kali. So therefore, on the eve of Srila Prabhupada's appearance day today, we all have a great mission before us. If we at all want to serve Srila Prabhupada, so then we have to carry this mood. So somehow or the other, we have to serve the body of Srila Prabhupada. So within our own limitations, within our own time or within our own circumstances, whatever Srila Prabhupada is permitting us, the Lord is permitting us, we have to take this great task of spreading the mission of Srila Prabhupada. So are we all willing to serve and open the doors of liberation for our own selves and for the rest of the world? Hare Krishna, how many of us are ready to carry this mood, to carry this mission of Srila Prabhupada? Or else there is no meaning in saying Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. So many a times we say no, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. What does it mean? Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Glorifying, all glories to you Srila Prabhupada. What does it mean? All glories to you Srila Prabhupada means we are going to carry your instructions, we are going to carry your Vani, we are going to carry your instructions to spread this movement. So or else how Prabhupada will be glorified? How many of them immediately know about Srila Prabhupada? How many of us in the entire Bangalore know about Srila Prabhupada? Unless we carry these instructions, practice it ourselves and also make the effort to bring the conditioned souls to the shelter of Srila Prabhupada, so we are not actually glorifying Prabhupada. So that is how, by serving pure devotees, we will open the doors for liberations not only for ourselves, for the entire humanity, but the entire, not only the human race, for all the living entities, for all the time. So therefore, Mahat Seva Dvara Ahor Vimuktis, Tamo Dvara Vyositi Sangi Sangi. Or else the material life is open for all of us. Material life means money and sex life. So anybody who is attached to this in any form, the doors of hell is wide open. So or we want to serve the Mahatmas and get ourselves, drive ourselves on the path of liberation and also open the doors of liberation for all others. So the doors are wide open. So the shutter is open, immediately center, people can walk in, So people can serve Srila Prabhupada, so serve Srila Prabhupada's movement. So or else there are so many centers all over the world. So we can all go become a part of this movement. So and serve the movement. So and we can experience this great joy of serving the Supreme Lord. So all the great acharyas, they have time and again glorified the benefit of associating with the pure devotees of the Lord. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Hare Krishna. Anybody has any questions? No questions? Everybody has understood? Hare Krishna.
When we want to serve the Prabhupada, sometimes our physical strength will not be sufficient. At that time, to what extent we have to serve Prabhupada?
So suppose we have, our body is not cooperating. We want to serve, but our body is not cooperating to serve. So in a situation like that, how we can serve? Yeah. So we have great examples in the history and also in the recent times also, like how devotees are showing by their own example that how we can serve. So one best example we can see that Srila Prabhupada only. So even during his last stage of life, even few days even before giving up his body, he was translating Srimad Bhagavatam. Mataji asked a wonderful question. So how we can serve beyond physical infirmities. So we can see the life of Srila Prabhupada. We can see these parallels in the history also, how Bhishma Dev was instructing Yudhishthira Maharaj. So even he was lying on the bed of arrows. So we are all not in that position.
We are not like Prabhupada, we are the fallen souls.
Yeah.
How to serve?
Yeah. So what actually happens is we have to take example from the great souls so that we can derive inspiration. So how we can serve in spiritual life is actually by deriving inspiration. So why we read Srimad Bhagavatam, we learn from the life of the great souls, is we have to work beyond the physical and the mental infirmities. So many times we have mental infirmities, we have physical infirmities, but we have to grow beyond these infirmities and work on the platform of the spirit soul. So we see the great examples like Bhishma Dev and also like you have Srila Prabhupada. So even during the last days of their life, Srila Prabhupada was translating Srimad Bhagavatam. So we can see His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. So how he is traveling, even in this age, even to give one class, he has to do so much physical exercise. So if he has to come and give one class in the evening or one class in the morning, afternoon, he has to prepare himself. So by accumulating this physical strength to give one class. So he has to do so much of cycling, he has to do so much of physical exercise. So gather that strength so that he can deliver a class, he can have a meeting, he can meet devotees, he can instruct them, guide them. So these are all great examples what we have in our own histories like Srimad Bhagavatam. And also we see the life of the great souls, that their lives are a great inspiration. So one is that we derive strength from inspiration, and also we derive strength in association. So association, we see that devotees are doing great services. So beyond physical infirmities, we see that so some of our own fellow devotees so are serving better than us. So and they come on time. So they are the first ones to come, the last ones to go. So seeing such souls, at least to certain extent we can do some service. So by gradually taking up one responsibility after the other, so Krishna will give us both physical, mental and spiritual strength. So And first and foremost of all this is to derive inspiration. So how we develop desires in first thing is where the inspiration comes is we develop desires in association. So without coming to the association of devotees, if we avoid association of devotees, so we will not develop any desire to serve. We will not derive any inspiration to serve. The first and foremost strength comes from inspiration. So by coming to the association of devotees, we will develop the desire and develop the inspiration to serve. So similarly, there was Haridas Thakura. Haridas Thakura, how many rounds was he chanting?
192 rounds.
He was chanting 192 rounds per day. So when he was becoming old, so what did Haridas Thakur, Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him, Haridas Thakur, now you are becoming old. Now you have lost the stamina. Now you are lacking the physical strength to chant all these rounds. Why don't you minimize your rounds now? Why don't you reduce your number of rounds? What did Haridas Thakur tell him? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Anybody knows what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Haridas Thakur?
No need to chant.
So Haridas Thakur told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my Lord, I have no problem physically. Physically I am okay. But the problem is with my mind. So the problem is with my mind. So please help me so that I can get out of the inabilities of the mind. So many a times, so we may lack the mental strength, so more than the physical. Even in my own case, as per my years of practice in Krishna consciousness, I see that all the statements of the Acharyas are very much true, that we lack more of a mental strength than the physical strength. So we have to become mentally strong and intellectually strong. So all these things we derive this strength time and again by coming to the association of devotees. So by associating with Srila Prabhupada through his association. So association plays a very major role in everybody's life. So if we associate with like-minded devotees, we get that inspiration and strength to practice spiritually. Suppose if we are in the association of smokers, people who are smoking, especially the youngsters, they have this experience. What experience they have? If they are in the association of people who are smoking, they also become smokers. If you are in the association of drunkards, we become drunkards. If we are in the association of women hunters, we become women hunters. If we are in the association of devotees, we become devotees. Sangat Sanjayate Kama. So Sangat Sanjayate Kama means we develop desires in association. Whom you associate with will determine who you are. So therefore there is a great saying, show me your friend and I'll tell you who you are. So show me your friend and I'll tell you who you are. మీ ఫ్రెండ్ని చూపియండి, మీరు ఎవరని నేను చెప్తాను. So which means who we associate with will tell us who we are. So therefore what we want is we have to decide what we want in life, what choices we have to make in life, what desires we have to develop. All these things become very, very important. So association, inspiration and desire and knowledge. So all these things we get from the first step in our spiritual life, serving a pure devotee. Serving a pure devotee, and especially the center is not only a center, it is the body of Srila Prabhupada. Anybody who associates with the center in the right mood, and we should associate with the right mood and right spirit. So then we make advancement in spiritual life. Because advancement in spiritual life depends on the attitude of the follower. So we may be coming to the association, just like Srila Prabhupada was saying. A fly can also come and sit on the lap of the king. Is the fly associating with the king, or he is or the ministers associating with the king? So it is the attitude. Advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. What is our attitude towards the books? Srila Prabhupada's books. What is our attitude towards the devotees? What is our attitude towards the deities? What is our attitude towards the fellow devotees? So how are we seeing our fellow devotees? So all these things matters. So advancement in Krishna, what is our attitude towards the holy name? So everything matters. So advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. So or else will not make any advancement. So how we see all these things? Are we seeing all these things as a matter of, as an object of our sense gratification, or are we seeing this as an object of service? If we don't develop an attitude of service towards any of these items, the books, the deities, the devotees, then the holy name, so then we will not make any advancement. These are all objects of our service. They are not the objects of our sense gratification. So we can use them as the objects of our sense gratification also. So that's the reason there is a famous story of this great woman in the Malaya Hills. There was a woman in the Malaya Hills, an old woman. She was living in that forest. What is Malaya forest famous for?
Elephant.
Sandalwood. Malaya Chandan. So, but this lady, what she was doing, she used to use the sandalwood for, what did she use the sandalwood for? Cooking. So because sandalwood is so amply available, she did not know the value of the sandalwood. She started using the sandalwood for cooking. So therefore there is a great lesson for us to learn from this story, that Acharyas many times quote this example. So we may be in the midst of the devotees, but we do not value them. So if we don't value the association of devotees, if we don't understand the value of devotees, then we also become like the lady in the Malaya Hills cooking, using sandalwood for cooking. So we can also use the sandalwood, we can also use the devotees for our own sense gratification, for enhancing our name, fame, prestige, all that. So are we in a mood to serve, or are we in a mood to enjoy? So whether we are developing Bhoga Vritti or Seva Vritti. So everything depends on how we see things around us. Are we using this principal objects of devotional service? So there are 5 potent objects of devotional service in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu: the holy name, the scriptures, the association of devotees, so then deity worship and reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So these 5 potent forms of devotional service, our attitude towards them will determine our advancement in Krishna consciousness. Okay, what is our attitude towards all these things? If we are negligent, we are careless, we are callous towards these 5 potent forms of devotional service, then our advancement, no matter, even if we are for 100 years, 200 years, for a million lifetimes, we will not make any advancement. Our attitude towards these 5 potent forms of devotional service should change. How we look at them. Advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. Hare Krishna. Any doubts? Babu Prabhu. Prabhupada was chanting all the time. Yeah. How many rounds Prabhupada would chant? Prabhupada would chant all the time. So it's an observation actually, it's not a saying. So it is said that Prabhupada would chant all the time. So there are several different ways of chanting. Chanting in the mind, chanting verbally, chanting slowly and chanting loudly. So this is how Haridas Thakur chanted 64 rounds. How did he chant 192 rounds? 8 hours he used to chant in the mind. 8 hours slowly on the beats. And 8 hours he used to chant loudly. So 192 rounds he used to distribute it this way. So how many rounds Prabhupada would chant? He would chant all the time. Hare Krishna. So this is the attitude towards the holy name. So if we don't develop this attitude towards the holy name, then our advancement will check. Hare Krishna. So let us all develop the right attitude. Let us develop the right spirit in practicing Krishna consciousness, or else our advancement will always be stunted. Just like a creeper which is undernourished will always be stunted in its growth. If we don't have the right attitude towards the holy name, towards the scriptures, towards the devotees, so towards the Prabhupada's movement, so we will not make advancement. So let us develop the right attitude, right spirit, so right mood to serve the mission of Srila Prabhupada. So this is all we have to learn in the association of devotees as we are advancing in Krishna consciousness. So let us develop the right mood and spirit, like how Srila Prabhupada maintained the mood of preaching Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's mission throughout the entire world. This was his meditation all the time, and he made all the adjustments in life just to spread this Krishna consciousness mission. So Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki. So nobody has any other doubts? Everybody is. We have 10 more minutes because we have to prepare for Abhishekam now, Srila Prabhupada's Abhishekam, followed by Prasadam.
One more down. Prabhu, in a family, everybody is serving in the Krishna consciousness. At one particular point of time, only the family, head of the family will be serving, and we have to take care of the family. At that time, it will be very difficult to manage the thing. That is what should be our mood.
So taking care of the family members is also our duty. So we have to make the adjustments accordingly. So suppose if there is a pressing situation, His Grace Radhesham Prabhu was telling one example in a class like this. So the husband will go for Mangalarti. So he will go for Mangalarti and chanting his rounds. So, and he would come back by 7 o'clock. By that time, the Mataji would take care of the children. So then Mataji will go for the class and Prabhu will take care of the rest of the cooking and the children at home. So this is how they would manage. So we can make adjustments according to time, place and circumstances. But the whole idea is to see that how we will remain Krishna consciousness. So we can make adjustments accordingly and see that how we can remain Krishna conscious. So in service also, many a times, some member of the family may be sick. So all of them may not come for service. We can prioritize. So now some people, one of the family members can go. Others can take care of the other services as well. So we should make a mix and match and also make some adjustments and see. So how we can come and serve. Or else the scope becomes very limited for us to practice. Especially in the age of Kali Yuga, living in cities, living in a city like Bangalore is a very challenging situation for practicing Krishna consciousness. So, but we have to work it around and see that how we can become Krishna consciousness. Rather than, or else we can keep on giving reasons. But ultimately we are going to lose the game. So we cannot become Krishna conscious. Who is going to lose the game? So we will be the losers. Ultimately we are not Krishna consciousness at the end of the day. What the Acharyas want to tell us, what the Acharyas want to give us, we would have lost. We would have lost the mood, mission and spirit, everything is lost. And the age is lost. So finally we will not develop that attitude of serving, and that spirit of enthusiastic service will not develop till the ripe age also. Ultimately the symptom of growth is that as the age progresses in Krishna consciousness, so it is not the age that matters. So it is our enthusiasm to serve that matters. So Srila Prabhupada was a great example for that. So we can see how Srila Prabhupada served at the fag end of his life. How did he serve? Did he serve? Was there any complaints? Pure devotee means no complaints. So that enthusiasm to serve. So if we are not developing that enthusiasm to serve with the advancement of age, then we have not used the right ingredients to cook the right recipe. The right recipe is we should become enthusiastic in Krishna consciousness. So our attitude towards the holy name, so the holy name, the deities, the scriptures, so the fellow devotees, so all these things matters. So therefore, we have to cook the right recipe using the right ingredients and become Krishna conscious at the end of our life, become enthusiastic in Krishna. And what is the symptom of pure devotional service? Enthusiasm. If we are not serving with enthusiasm, then we have our, what do we have? We have our own agenda of name, fame, glory, prestige.